Great. So I asked for people to. Happy.com. Welcome. So I asked for people to ask for people to whatever they wanted to contribute Doc Savage wise to this book. I think when you guys see this book, I think if we can continue to do this as an ongoing thing, it might be kind of fun. It would give a voice to everybody here to what they want to contribute and put in there. And as we all know, it's kind of fun to see your name in print here. So, okay, and the reason we're starting a little bit early, Pete, what this is 1933. Doc Savage started 75 years ago. And I asked our whiz kid Billy, if he would put together an opening montage, which he did right here. And this is just a beautiful piece of work. So. February 17, 1933. Started. What did you think about that? I mean,
it was cool seeing everything in a historical context, like seeing like the Tsar of Fear, and then you see Stalin.
Well, I guess the point I'm trying to make is that obviously the depression's going on. There's a lot of turmoil in the world.
The world's in chaos, and we need Superman.
Yeah, the world's a mess. I mean, you've got the rise of Hitler's, and it did start in the late 30s. This Hitler and all the Nazism started in 1933. Mm-hmm. And he and Roosevelt are parallel. They both started at the same time. 12 years later, both him and Roosevelt exit this world. But, I mean, those two guys are intertwined. And then, we've got the Dust Bowl. We've got not only depression, but people can't grow crops. And 15 million people are out of work. So why would a 10-cent magazine on a newsstand all of a sudden, be selling like hotcakes when people don't have any money? Well, people needed hope. People needed escape. People were into, you could see that, you've got people setting records. They're record crazy. I want to jump in an airplane and fly around the world. I want to explore the North Pole. They're building things. Golden Gate Bridge is going up. Skyscrapers are going up. Everything's, wondrous. Science is big and vogue. So you said, hey, here's a guy, Doc Savage, that embodies all that. He's got a lot of money. He's a philanthropist. He's smart. People are crazy about sports. This guy's very, athletic. So you've got the whole package with Doc Savage to appeal to people. The world was a smaller place at the time. No, I'm sorry, opposite. The world was a bigger place at the time. And 12 years later, at the end of World War II, the world was a lot smaller place. But back in the 30s, you could conceivably go off to the corner of the world and find possibly some dinosaurs or lost civilization or something that nobody's ever seen before, So anyway, that's what I mean. When you see this, when you look at this, you go, wow. I mean, this embodies with what Doc Savage, when Doc Savage begins, this is really what was going on, and here's a guy who kind of addressed all those things, even though he wasn't real. I mean, oops. And in the meantime, I had gotten a Bantam paperback about the history of Bantam books, and they published two of them, 25 years and 30-year history. Reading that, I'd read about Leonard P. Leone Sr., who was the art director for Bantam books from the mid-50s to the mid-80s. Long story short, the new book comes out on Bama, and here's a foreword by Len Leone. So I said, hey, I had already established a dialogue with the publisher, John Flesk, because that's how I got Bama's address. And so I emailed him back and I said, wow, do you have Len Leone's contact information? Because I'm thinking if I can get Len Leone's information, I can ask him tons of stuff, right? I mean, I got all, I sent him a letter, and I get a letter back from him, and it's pretty amazing. It says, Dear Mr. Rogers, I'm not going to read this whole thing. When Mark Jaffe, the editorial director of Bantam Books, approached me one day, he said, Len, did you by any chance ever hear of Doc Savage? Len goes, Doc Savage, are you serious? Man, everybody's heard of Doc Savage. I would buy every one of those pulp magazines as a kid. He goes, why do you ask? I'm seriously thinking of purchasing the property. Do you think I should? And Len Leone goes, I certainly think you should do that. And he goes, let's see, I lost my place. You can't miss, especially if I can get someone like Bama to do the covers. Okay?
Prophetic
Now,
words indeed.
this is Len, and this is Len Leone, and again, I've got a story, I won't cover the whole story I've written. It's in the Bronze Gazette and in our little book. This guy, we all owe a big thanks, because I would probably think that not one of us would be liking Doc Savage or reading Doc Savage if it weren't for this guy. I've done a lot of research the past year, and let me give you some background on this. Contrary to a lot of people in this room, I've always been a Fred Pfeiffer fan, who did some artwork on Doc Savage. And I was curious about him one day, and I thought, I'm going to go look up this guy. So when you go to Google or whatever and look up Fred Pfeiffer, you basically find zip. And so I was intent, I'm going to find out more about this guy. And after all this time of working, and I still know very little about him. And there's a reason for that. Fred was born in 1940, and he passed away in January of 1996. The sad thing was they passed away by his own hand.
Somebody on this side, like over where Jay is, facing that way, and people all here would be close to the door over here.
Yeah.
They want to know this guy's over here. Well, she's coming over there.
Yeah. I know, what was weird.
And outside.
Okay.
I turn the floor over to Mr. Horner. Take it away.
Hiya, boys. Look what we have here. We got another crate.
Ah, another mysterious crate from the Hidalgo Trading Company.
Great.
What's very interesting about this crate is it was dated 1933. Dated 19...
What we got?
It's a doorbell.
Doorbell.
And what's on the doorbell?
Ooh.
Some green ink.
Touch it.
I'm not gonna.
Ah.
Andy Stevens wrote his last Bronx.
And what's the label say?
Brazil.
It's cure for red death.
Okay. Oh, well, I suppose,
A red viscous fluid.
I suppose the story's that.
Cool. That's good. Thanks for bringing that down.
Oh, very cool. Good job, Glenn.
Excellent.
See you, Roddy.
Using somebody else's quote. I had not caught that.
What that? That's one I'll put down. I don't like.
Now I still have prints left. Anybody wants more prints, I've got them. And,
We're going to be showing them off. We've got them here. As you know, I've got Peter here. He bought every one of your prints, and Pat from Minnesota bought most of your prints, and we're showing them off, and they love them. And I was showing them off the picture of this large-breasted female warrior with the saber tooth, and maybe.
I need the book coming out. Hopefully it's going, I think they're printing it sometime this week. So that'll be cool.
Who's the publisher?
It'll come out by December 1st. And I was getting in touch with Sal, Sal Q Productions, to see when that
Have one more major activity. It doesn't mean we can't, we can keep associating, having a good time. Jay has created an interactive game of which he's spent hours and hours on, and it's just pretty amazing.
Alright. So, okay, round one.
What year was the setting for this film?
33, 37.